Oh. Oh, wait. Hold on. Oh, everything's all fudged up at the moment. Hold on. There we go. All right. Music to my headphones. Turn down the music a little bit. I think we're good to go. Yeah, I probably should have started this stream a few minutes later. But in any event, yeah, we've got some more live streaming for Goblin Slayer, TTRPG for Foundry VTT starting up. Yeah, exactly, Hair Doctor. Let's hope no friendly goblins suffer a casualty. That would be my hope as well. And actually, it's kind of funny. I've been thinking about how few races there are for this game so far, and I was thinking, I go, oh, the races themselves aren't that terrible to custom make. It's just building out a couple stats. For instance, let's take a look here. I'm gonna build out a race anyway, so let's take a look at this. So we're gonna go ahead and unlock this compendium for races, and we'll just create like a random custom one or whatever. It doesn't really matter. Actually, yeah, I'll just build out the human. Do I want to do? Yeah, I have to download the races. So, anyways, the characters here, the races, they get a bunch of skills. You get 1 to 2 general and 1 to 2 adventurer skills, and then all you have to do next is build out the fixed scores and the random determination scores. So your D3s plus or minus, or 0 plus 0 to plus 2 depending on that. So I was thinking to myself, I go, how much fun would it be to build out a reformed goblin for this game, and then have a goblin adventurer that is no longer just this crazy disturbing monster. Hey, maybe they've learned the ways of humanity and decided not to be horrible, despicable monsters that they are in the game. So I thought that might be kind of fun to have some point down the line. But in any respect, I have to download something real quick as well, because I want to get these like humans going and then the other races. So thankfully, Hair Doctor, who is in the live stream right now, he was he was kindly enough to build out a whole bunch of tokens for me. Not to mention that he got a little bit of a benefit out of that because he works so closely with me. He went through and made a whole bunch of partially 3D tokens, so I have to download those because I haven't done that yet. And let me see, where am I hiding those? Yeah, the second games folder there. Goblin Slayer, monsters. There we go. Creatures, goblins, villains, undead. Okay. Let's see here. Demons, humans, giants, goblins, villains, undead, spirits, magical creatures. Crud. I don't think I have anything for the standard races. Alright, for the time being, I will just do placeholders until I can get better images or whatnot for them. So I will use some tokens that I already have for my humans and whatnot. So let's see here. Yeah, I guess for the time being, unless I have something better here. Let me take a look at my assets. And let's see here. I need to shrink a couple things real quick. Actually, I gotta move that over so I can see chat. Yeah. Oh, right. Villains are standard races. Okay. Well, I do need like a dwarf and a Rhea, which technically is, I think, a halfling, and then lizardmen. So, yeah, I can take a look in those as well and see what the villains have. Let's see here. Download that. Okay. That's downloaded. And let's see what we got for... Oh yeah, that actually would work out pretty well. So here we go. We have a whole bunch of tokens here. I might have to do some placeholders for like dwarf and lizard. Oh no, that's a perfect... That could be a perfect lizardman race token as well. We have a dark elf token, which is great. And who knows, we could use something else here, like maybe this one, the Enforcer here, could be used as the Rhea or something. But in any event, let me go ahead and pull up my other files and whatnot. Let's see here. All right, I got my PDF open on the side. We're going to do human, and for this we're going to pull in oh, right, yeah, I have to actually build out a tokens location in the core data. So before I go and do that, let's go ahead and get ourselves a new folder here for tokens. And then in the tokens, we will do, let's see here, villains. And we'll also do goblins, just so we can have, oh wait, there we go. VS Code is a little weird when it comes to this sort of stuff. All right, and then we'll go to the user data, and might as well just start downloading all the other ones. So we have a, we're going to need a folder for undead. So let's see here, systems, GS for Goblin Slayer. We have our tokens, and we have villains and goblins. So we're also going to need one for undead. Spirits, magical. I'm just going to leave that as magical for magical creatures. We have our goblins. We need giants, demons, and also regular creatures like wolves and stuff. No, that's all right. I should have mentioned something to you before, Herr Doc, about building out tokens for the standard races, but that was my fault. I forgot to ask you about that one. All right, let me shrink that down a little bit. There should be a Lizardman token. Gilman are similar to Lizardman, or at least it was like that in the description. Yeah, I figured I would use that there. Okay. So let's see here. We got our villains. I'm just going to copy and paste all of those into the villains section here. So now we have our villains there. And now I need to download the others. So this is going to take me a couple minutes here. I can show you what I'm doing while I'm waiting. And then we'll download that. The annoying part is I have to wait. There we go. Once I see the little flicker go through. Oh, I must have downloaded these already, because I'm seeing parentheses 1. I wonder how long ago I downloaded all of them. Oh well, not a big deal. Okay, that's taken care of. Now we need to go to creatures, so let's get all of the creatures out. Okay, borrowed art, that's good to have. And then we need demons. Oh, yeah. All right, we'll go ahead and do the goblins there. For the stream, I tried to make all the tokens in Hero Forge, but some I just was not able to do there. For example, how do you expect me to make a dragon in Hero Forge? Yeah, that is one of the biggest problems with Hero Forge, but I do like how they look. So these are a really great stand-in for the artwork here. I'm not complaining at all. And considering I have the supplement as well, There might be some more tokens in the future, Herr Doc. Let's see here. All right, magical creatures. And then next is spirits. Undead is the last one. It's always funny when I see the Doulahan. The first place I heard about the Doulahan was on the Dungeon Dudes Drakenheim podcast and actual play that they do, and I didn't realize that the Doulahan was an actual legitimate monster that a lot of books use, or it's an actual creature, monster, undead. So it was surprising for me to see that. But still kind of cool. Alright, while I'm at it, I'm going to go ahead and commit these all. Oh yeah, a whole bunch of changes and whatnot. You know what, before we get to that, let's go ahead and make this first creature, or this first human, just for the heck of it. So let me go and find that real quick in my PDF. Come on. There we go, alright. So humans, or no, races. I need races. And the races are going to be on page 75, so that's going to be probably about 77 in the PDF. Okay. So in the book, the funny part about races is that this is it. This is the entire race. It's a little bit of information about, you know, who they are in the world and how long they live, their skills, and then their ability scores. So creating a custom race in Goblin Slayer is dumb easy. So that's why I was thinking, oh, I could build out a whole bunch of custom races that were designed from, you know, 5th edition or Pathfinder, and just borrow from there, bring them into this game, and there we go. We have a whole bunch of extra races, because as you can see here, for humans, their fixed scores are pretty straightforward, 3, 2, 2, 3, and this may seem low, but you combo the fixed scores with the fixed scores of the secondary abilities. So a strength focus will end up being a total of a 5, where strength endurance will be a 7, and then a 5 again. Or you can roll and get really lucky. So for instance, we could have a maximum of 5 for endurance for humans, or a minimum of 3. So the values don't really stretch all that far in one way or the other. Now, there are ways to increase this with items and spells, but for the most part, your skills don't fluctuate too crazy high or low. So it looks like, I think, if we look at some of the other ones, oh yeah, we do get a -1 depending, so we can go as far as -1 to +2 so far, it seems. Yeah, and then in some cases, some of the races get more pluses and minuses. What is this for the elves? Yeah. Okay. Half races are also interesting, because the half races, while you could be a half race where it has to be human and a half race of something else, so you could be a half dwarf in this game or a half lizardman. Yeah, you just get the bonuses from one of the races. So it doesn't matter if you're a half elf. You're either going to have the traits and innate skills of a human, or the traits and innate skills of an elf. You don't get a blending of the two. You just get to say to yourself, oh, I'm a half elf, so I'm human and elf, and I maybe have an average range of their lifespan. That's it. Makes it very straightforward and simple. Although if you read the books, apparently humans and goblins always result in goblins. Just going to leave that there. All right, going to the core data. Let me see. Oh, no. I need user data. Right, because that's where it's going to be in the system. Goblin Slayer, tokens, and then villains. So let's see here. We're making a human. And what can we do? What would be a good pick for a human here? I mean, we could go for the standard. Yeah, this would be a good human here, I think. We'll use that one. So we got our human, and we're going to go ahead and just copy in a bunch of information. Let me grab a different website so I can copy and paste faster. Okay, I want races and I want human. So yeah, at the beginning, there's only 5 core races. And the funny part is that the rulebook tells you about a few other races. For instance, Dark Elves, Padfoot, and I think maybe one other. The supplement actually gives you Dark Elves and Padfoot. And the nice thing about Padfoot is that there's technically a whole bunch of sub-races to the Padfoot because they're all beastmen. So you have, you know, your avian, your mammal, and also your bug. So there's Padfoot bugs, which they call Myrmidons, which are basically, you know, wasps, bees, and the like, which is kind of really interesting in a way. But let's go ahead and take a look here at the human. So the way the game describes humans and anyone who isn't a creature or basically like unintelligible is that among those who have words, this is the race with the biggest sphere of influence. So everyone is someone who has words. Anyone that can speak is I lost the word for it. Anyone who speaks is basically, that's how they're labeled. They have anyone who has words, which is kind of funny. Let's see here. Possessing high versatility or versatile abilities, they can work well in as any class. In particular, they have high endurance and excel in abilities that allow them to throw things accurately over long distances, which is really funny. But sure, I guess, all right. A human is treated as an adult at age 15 and generally lives anywhere between 50 to 80 years old. So, you know, this may not necessarily follow our current day standards in 2024 of what an adult is, because it depends on your country, or especially in the US, what state, where adults have different ranges and whatnot. The US is such a silly place. Yeah, so the age range, surprisingly, is a little under what we experience now as humans, but you know, not too terribly far off. We can live much longer than that now, thanks to modern day technology and medicines and what have you, but we also don't technically hit adulthood until much later on. So in any event, there's our starting information for our human. Interesting. Why did that not save? I might have an error here. Let's see, close that out. No, all right, it's saved. I've been noticing weird problems with Foundry lately. I don't know if it's just because of what I'm doing with Goblin Slayer, or if it's the system itself, but sometimes they've been bugging out here. Yes, Hair Doctor says, anyone that can communicate with others. Yes, anyone who speaks. All right, so now for our human here, we're going to need some skills, because they have some starting skills to go with, and we're going to have one general, which is long distance movement, as we've seen before. So we're going to go ahead and drop that in. Oh, do I need to unlock it? Maybe I need to unlock it. Let's see here. Oh, that's weird. Why am I not able to drop them in from here? Huh. I wonder if that's going to make things difficult or not. All right. Let's see here. Skills. I'm going to delete all of these. Long distance movement, and then drop that in there. Okay, it works there at least. I don't know why it wouldn't take it from the compendium. That's curious. All right, and then we also have, as we saw before, encumbered action and weapons, throwing weapons. So let's see what happens if I delete this now. Will it stay? All right, so it still stays, which is good. I'm not going to bother looking for them through here. I'm just going to go ahead and search for them, because that'll be much faster. So there's our encumbered action. We'll drop that in here, and then drop that in here. And then next we are looking for weapons. Weapons XX. So here's the thing. What I'm going to do is weapons XX, but I'm going to switch it before Before this, I'm going to go ahead and change it so it says throwing weapons. That's the only problem with these XX skills, is that there's multiples of them, and I guess technically I should go through and make them all multiples. So I can fix that later on. I won't do that now because, man, it's been bad enough already going through and having to make all of these. Alright, so you excel at handling a kind of melee or ranged weapon. There's 9 of these skills. I'm not going to worry about it. These skills only have... Alright, so yeah. You excel at handling a throwing weapons. We'll just change it to that. Actually, we'll say thrown. I think it's technically thrown. Yeah, whatever. We'll leave it throwing weapons. Okay. So there's our skill for throwing weapons here. We'll drop that in, and now we are completely finished with all of our skills that our human can have. All right. And then from there, we will go ahead and add in the primary and fixed and secondary abilities. So for this, we have 3, and then 1d3 plus 1. Psyche is a 2, or simply 1d3, which is the average. 2, and 1d3 again. And intelligence 3, 1d3 plus 1. Focus is going to be a 2. 1d3. 4 for endurance, 1d3 plus 2. Reflexes is going to be a 2, 1d3, oh, not 6, 1d3, and then our multiplier, racial movement multiplier, is 3. So where this racial movement multiplier comes into play is during character creation, you're going to roll 3 sets of 2d6. Those get picked and moved into either your life force, your movement, and how many spells you can cast per day. So if you're going to be a very fast-moving, maybe a monk or a scout or a ranger, you're going to definitely want one of those sets of 2d6 to be your movement modifier, and then from there, you'll times the dice that you roll by, your racial movement modifier here. So, for instance, our humans get times 3, whereas dwarves, I believe, are times 2, and so on. Oh yeah, and then there's an origins table, which I'm not too worried about. I'm not going to put that into here. I think that's... the origins table will go into the journal, which I guess I could do right now, if I really wanted to. Rules, chapter 2. Alright, let's go ahead and just add in a quick page here. We'll call it Origins for the time being. And we have, let's see here, heading 1, Human Origin Table. And let's see here, this one is going to be 2, 4, 6 across, 6 columns. By, what's that, 2, 4... Looks like 12. Okay, by 12 rolls. So we're rolling 2d6 here for this, for the table. I gotta really do something about this so that it goes higher. It's kind of annoying. So we've got 2d6 here. We have our origin. We have our class, if you get any. The adventurer skill that comes along with that, so you can get some bonus skills. The general and other information. So I'm going to go ahead and just widen this a bit. All right, so here we're going to have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 11, and 12. So depending on what you roll here, you'll get different things going on. You know what? And just for the sake of it, let's see if we can increase that screen size a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and use my inspector elements to try and target this section here to make this a little bigger so we can see what's going on. Alright, and editor here. Editor is the Prose mirror, which is perfectly fine. Actually, I'll show you what I'm doing here. Because I have the max height set here. Height, fit content, important. If I get rid of that, it's still the same here. So what if I do something like this instead? Let's say 300 pixels. Oh no, that is definitely not what I wanted. Max height. That's that. Editor, Prose mirror. The table wrapper. But can I get to that table wrapper? Overflow, X, display block, break. Yeah, this is primarily what I do with my day job, is doing this kind of stuff. Not for Foundry, but for websites and whatnot. Trying to figure out where things broke and how to open them up. Yeah. Oh, there we go. I think that's what I want. Enter container minimum height. Height fit content maybe? Would that do it? What if we say 500 pixels here? No, that's not doing it either. No, anyways, I'll have to look into this more later on. But anyways, just an explanation here. So we have a bunch of origins of what we may roll. So if we roll a number 2, which is going to be the hardest of the bell curve of 2d6 to get to, will be an adventurer. So we've always been an adventurer for our origins here in this case. If we get a 3, we'll be a vagabond. 4 is a hunter. 5 is a scholar. 6 is artisan. 7 will be a farmer, which is more likely because now we're starting to hit the average of the bell curve. 8 is a merchant. 9 is soldier. Then we have knight, priest getting towards the low end again, and a noble, which is going to be the harder of the ones to get. And then with our classes, some of our origin stories do give us a class, which is going to be super helpful. So this means if at adventurer level 1, we will generally only have 2 to 3 classes because we start with 3000 XP to play with. We can get a bonus class with our human or our race origin table, which is going to be really nice. So at 2, if we roll a 2, we get 1 level of any class we want, which is really helpful. If we're a vagabond, we get 1 level of monk. I'm going to copy that so I can paste faster. If we are a hunter, we get 1 level of ranger. And I see that these are being linked, so at some point I should make journal entries for these. If we are a scholar, we get 1 level of sorcerer. And then let's see here. 6, 7, and 8 don't have anything because these are the average bell curve ranges. If we were a soldier, we'll have 1 level of scout, oddly enough. Knight is a level of fighter. And then priest is going to be level of priest, dragon priest, or shaman. And then for 12, as a noble, we don't get anything for a class. As for adventurer skills, we will have, let's see here, nothing for 2 and 3. At 4, we get monster knowledge as a starting skill, which is super helpful. And I will go ahead and do this to drag that in. So now we can reference that. That's what I want to do with Ranger. I want to be able to reference this later on. So I'll probably have something for races later on in this, the book here. Let's see here. Why does Ranger get monster knowledge? I thought only spellcasters had monster knowledge. That's really strange. I think that might be a typo. That's really strange. Anyways, moving on. Artisans, you would get handiwork as a starting skill, which is super helpful. Handiwork is great for basically lockpicking and whatnot. As a farmer, you would get hardiness. Again, super helpful because that gives you extra hit points. or life force, I should say. And then as soldier, we would see Sixth Sense, which is just like it sounds, a sixth sense score. So let me go ahead and bring that skill up. So for Sixth Sense here and this skill, you notice changes around you or sense danger before it strikes. In this way, you can notice the presence of hidden enemies and traps. Unlike the active use of Observe to sense abnormalities, Sixth Sense is a passive skill. Because of this, as a general rule, you cannot make a Sixth Sense check until the GM tells you. Players can suggest the use of it to the GM, though. When you use a Sixth Sense check, make this check. If you pass the check, you can sense danger of abnormalities nearby, such as traps and enemies. So this is a great way to know if you're walking into an ambush or something. And Hairdock is saying, I guess rangers hunt monsters and you need to know about the monsters to hunt them. That's true. That does make sense, but I could have sworn that the only ones that could make, if I remember the rules correctly, and I've only read through them once before starting to build this out, it says that only spellcasters can make monster knowledge checks at the beginning of combat to know about the monster. It's a freebie that if you have any kind of spellcasting class, you get to immediately do at the beginning of combat, so you know, like, oh, this is what this type of monster does. But maybe Ranger was added in somewhere. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'll have to double check the book as well as the rules and what have you, to see if there was some kind of weird conflict between between the rules and references and whatnot, if it was some kind of a bug or something missed. All right, moving on. We get general skills. Vagabond gets perform any one, so we'll just say perform XX for now. And then we'll say any one. Nothing for Hunter. For Scholar, we would get Research. And then for Artisan, we ironically get Artisan, which would also be XX. And then we'll say any one. For Farmer, we would ironically get Production Farmer. But because of how this is set up for the time being, I have to do Production XX. We'll just say Farming. Oh, like I said, I'll switch that later on. For Merchant, we will get Negotiate. I think that's how I have it set up. Let's see. Yep, okay. And then we will do any one. We skip over Soldier. Soldier doesn't get anything. Knight gets Riding. Apparently Riding in this game is not the greatest. At least there have been some complaints about Riding. For Priest, we get Worship or Meditate. Let me just write these out. That's not what I want. Come on, there we go. We do Worship or... Do I not have Meditate? Wait. Hold up. Oh, apparently I missed a skill somehow. Wait a minute. That can't be right. Okay, let's see here. Maybe there was something missing in the reference that I'm using. Nope, I totally missed it myself somehow. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and add in a new general skill here for Meditate, because apparently I somehow missed it. Okay. Core data. I need icons, magic, and control? No, it's not control. Where is the... There's one of these has a person legitimately meditating, and I've gone through these so many times now. I cannot remember where exactly they're all at. Perception, I already looked at that. Movement, nope. Definitely not defensive. Control, that was already here. Oh, maybe it's life. Nope. Holy. Yes, that's it. There we go. Ah, come on. Meditate. There we go. Perfect. Prerequisite for meditate is at least one level of sorcerer or shaman. And this is a general skill, so we don't have to worry about prerequisites. Anything to highlight? Yes, we do need to bold that out. And then we have, let's see here. Get a +1 to your bonus to your meditation checks, and then for the other meditates here, for levels 2 and 3, you get a +2 bonus to your check, and then you can shorten the time for a higher check score, or a DC, the difficulty check for the score, if you want to meditate in less time, because it takes 3 hours to meditate to recover a spell use, I should say. And then at expert level, you can get a +4 bonus, and also increase the time to 30, or reduce the score to like 1 hour instead to meditate on, and then you can get 2 spell uses back, which is really helpful. Surprisingly, I did not have that somehow. Good to see that. Alright, and now we have meditate properly. There we go. And then finishing that up. Oh, shoot. Hold up. The last thing we have here for Noble, finally, Noble gets something, is leadership. There we go. Leadership there. And then we have the others column here in category. So for our others, let's get rid of that. We only have 2 things here in other. We have merchant and noble. So we're going to go down to merchant. Merchant gets 2d6 times 10 silver coins to start with. And then noble gets a whole bunch of stuff. So I'm just going to go ahead and drop that in. 2d6 times 50 silver coins. Roll 1d6 on the 1 to 3 means you are a lower noble, a Viscount or lower. 4 to 5 means you're an upper noble, a Count or an Earl, Marquis, Margrave, or etc. Or 6 means you're royalty, a royal family, a duke, or other levels of higher level royalty. So we will go ahead and save that. That's our origins for being a human. So we have our humans origins table there, which isn't the prettiest looking thing, but it works for the time being. I need to flesh out these stupid tables and whatnot a little better so that they make more sense. Of course, if I stretch that out a little bit, it's not going to help. I don't know. I really am not a fan of how the tables work. I would have to do something completely different, and with the Prose Mirror editor, that's like the easiest thing to do, is just insert in tables. But they don't follow the scaling here. It's just whatever seems to be the biggest. I have no idea how they pick and choose like how much room to make and whatnot. So the only other thing I can do is just put up like little horizontal bars or something. I don't know. But in any event, that is the humans origin table. So now we officially have humans set up. Those are all ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and just put that to the side next, because we're going to next move on to the next human, or the next race, being dwarves. Okay, so now we have dwarfs. Oh, I don't want assets. I want systems, GS, and tokens. And we have villains. I don't think we have a... Yeah, I don't remember having a dwarf. So what looks reasonably small? Oh yeah, we got another... Here we go. That's a perfect lizardman right there. Alright, I'll just use this for the time being for dwarves. So here's our information for being a dwarf in the Four-Cornered Kingdoms, or the Four-Cornered World, or however else you might want to use this. Among those who have words, this race has the second largest sphere of influence, just beneath humans. Their height only reaches about 150 centimeters, or... Let me see here, what's that in feet and inches? Let's see, 150 centimeters is 4 foot and like 9/10 of an inch. So we're talking like 4 foot 10 maybe, roughly, 4 foot 11. For those that use inches and feet rather than centimeters and metric, which metric is so much easier. But they have very tough, barrel-like bodies. They love liquor and feasts more than anything else, and they are valiant. Though they may be heavy and dull, they have high stamina and dexterity alike, making them competent warriors. I wouldn't know dwarves to have high dexterity normally, but because we only have 4 primary things, strength, I would say sure, but strength is also our stamina. So I guess they felt like dexterity was the best way to do this. A dwarf is treated as an adult at age 30 and generally lives anywhere between 800 to 900 years, which is pretty nice for dwarves. All right, now for their skills. Their skills are going to be healing affinity. So as before, we're going to have to drop these in here and then drop them in here because that apparently is the only way it's going to work. And then for our general skills, we get dark vision. And also craftsmanship, which I guess can be anything. Oh, no, it's just straight up craftsmanship. Okay. So as you can see, between humans and dwarves, the humans have 2 adventuring skills, which go up to a maximum of 5 levels, and legendary, where general skills only go up to a maximum of 3 or expert. Dwarves, because they have, I believe it's because they have dark vision, only get 1 other adventuring skill and 1 other craftsmanship. So, something good to know about. And yeah, I have to come in here and style these out a bit more too. And then for our skills, for being a dwarf, we get 4 strength, or 1d3 plus 2. 2, or 1d3 for psyche, 4 for technique, 1d3 plus 2, and a 1 for intelligence, or 1d3 minus 1, which technically we can go as far as 0 for intelligence, which, while it is kind of funny, also makes sense, I guess, in a way. Alright, and then we move on to our focus. Oh, wow, that's funny. There's an error in this thing that I'm looking at. They forgot to fix that. I'll have to contact the website about that. So their focus here is a 3, which is 1d3 plus 1. This is also a 3 for technique, 1d3 plus 1. And then reflexes is a 1, 1d3 minus 1. And their racial movement modifier is ×2. So they're a little slower, but their stats are a little better in certain areas. So there are our dwarves. And then if we want to go ahead and add in their origins, Oh, there's something here. There's a little extra note about dwarves. Dwarves have high strength and technique, making them good as fighters and rangers. They also have fairly decent psyche focus, meaning they can become priests, dragon priests, or shamans as well. I've been reading the manga and started reading the light novel just for the heck of it. And dwarves, sure enough, the one dwarf that joins Goblin Slayer, he is a shaman. Yes, because he uses a lot of spirit arts. It's funny. Of the main of all 5 characters that become part of the main group, there is Goblin Slayer, who is basically your fighter. You have the priest, who is a priest. There's Elf, who is a ranger, I believe. I don't know if she has any other abilities. There's a lizardman, who is a dragon priest, and then the dwarf, who is a shaman. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and add in more here, which is going to make this miserable to look at. Oh, there we go. Okay. So for this, we're going to need, again, 6 by 12. So we got the 2d6, the adventurer. We got our origins, our class, our adventurer skill, our general skill, and the other. And then we're just going to go right down the line here. Shame. Actually, you know what? I could probably just copy and replace this. Let me copy this. Alright, cool. That has saved me a whole bunch of extra time. Alright, for their classes, that's all the same. Except... oh, they do change it up a little bit. Okay, I have to... I know. Super exciting, right? Having to go through and just clear all... actually, I can probably just... I'm a silly boy. Just go in and do that. There we go. Okay, so... they're not all the same names for the origin. They do start with Adventurer, Vagabond, Hunter, and then it becomes Merchant. So they do switch it up a little bit of... like... different things for each of them. So next is Merchant for each race, and then we have Shopkeeper, Smith, which obviously being at the 7, the top of the bell curve, is going to be your average for dwarves. Then we have Artisan. Soldier, we'll keep that. Shield Breaker for number 10. Priest and Noble, those stay the same. Okay. Next, for Merchant, we don't get any class, but we do for Shopkeeper. Get 1 level of Monk, Fighter, or Scout for Shopkeeper, weirdly. Nothing for Smith or Artisan. We go down to Soldier, and we get a level of Scout. Shield Breaker gives us a level of Fighter. And then Priest is the same. 1 level of Priest or Dragon Priest. Okay, I'll be right back. My cat is trying to come in. Hi, Pumpkin. Go get some food and go lay down. Okay. Now, for our adventuring skills. Yeah, that is really obnoxious. I wonder what I did that changed this up here. Let me see something real quick. I'm going to try check this one more time because this is bothering me. Okay. Section Windows Form. Editor window. Alright, so let's take a look at anything that says GS here. And let me see what happens if I get rid of all of them. Nothing there. Interesting. Alright, well, I will just leave that at that then. That at least gives me more room to see what's going on here, which is very helpful. Give a little space there. Alright. Now, let's go ahead and add in the adventuring skills for our dwarf. Now, the first two don't get anything. Next, again, we get monster knowledge for ranger. And then after that, we skip to shopkeeper and get observe. And then we get handiwork for both smith and artisan. So what we'll do here is we'll just do this. Oh, and then we will copy all that and just paste that there. And then for the last two, for soldier and shield breaker, we're going to get 6th sense and strong blow slash. So for here, we're going to have to say, oh no, I think we can do this. This should work. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Great. Now we can move on to general skills for our dwarf. And of course my cat is getting into the mirror, or into the way. Move along, come on. Cat traffic, once again. So here we have perform. I think it's perform XX, right? Yeah. And then we say, oop. Any one. We skip one, go to merchant for negotiate. Any one again. And then we skip to smith, and they will get artisan smithing. Now, I believe if I do like that, that's not going to work. But I can do it like that. There we go. And then artisan. Anyone again. And then we skip down to priest and noble. We get worship for priest. And we get leadership for noble. All right. And then for others, we get a few different things here for others on the dwarf table. For that, we'll end up with merchant getting 2d6 times 10 silver coins. So let me just copy that over. For shopkeeper, we get star. Specifically, a pub owner. So we already own a pub if we happen to get shopkeeper, which is pretty funny. 10 for shield breaker is going to be a traditional dwarven soldier class. And then lastly, we get very similar for the noble. Nothing special here. Alright, so that's it for our dwarves. We'll go ahead and save that. Go ahead and close that. So now we're getting some more tables here for our dwarf origins table. Next we'll have, I think it's elf. We'll close that one up. Yes, elf is next. And what do we got? We got a dark elf here. Do we have anything for an elf? No. Alright, well, for the time being, for elf, I'm just going to use this dude here. And for the elves, we have this suggestion. Yeah, I knew that was going to be crazy big. Among those who have words, elves are the rarest race. They reside primarily in hidden settlements among ancient forests. They have long ears like bamboo grass leaves, are tall and slender, and are above all immortal, giving them eternally youthful appearances. They lack stamina and endurance, but they boast high movement speed and are skilled in bow handling and the spirit arts. Thus, they are well suited for being archers, scouts, and shamans. Elves grow slowly and have no lifespan, so a child is treated as an adult once they have become skilled in a field in their own right. Alright, now for elves, we're going to go ahead and grab the following skills. Weapons. And for this, we're going to go ahead and do the XX one again here. We're going to switch this to bows. And then we were going to edit this to say you excel at handling ranged weapons. Which basically only, well, no, not necessarily. Because we also have thrown weapons as ranged weapons. So we're going to go ahead and say you excel at handling bows. Alright, because of that, when you use a bow, you gain a +1 to hit checks with bows for being an elf. So, ironically enough, if you want to get the most out of your racial abilities, then being some sort of an archer is going to be, or some form of a ranger is going to be really helpful here. Oops, that was supposed to be, that's it. My bad. That was my fault. I dragged the wrong one in there. There we go. Weapons, bows, perfect. And then we get dark vision again for being an elf, as well as beloved of the Fae. For the beloved of the Fae, you can use spirit arts without possessing a shaman's bag and without spending catalysts. So super helpful. Otherwise, you have to have a shaman's bag, which restricts your movement, surprisingly enough. Reduces your movement by like 2 meters. I don't know why. I guess these things are huge and bulky. I don't know. But in any event, there is that portion for our elf. And then we move on to our scores. So for our elf, we have a 1 for strength with a 1d3 minus 1. Psyche is going to be a 3. That's also a 3. That's also going to be a 3. And then we have 1d3 plus 1. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy that. Paste those in. And then we have a 2, a 1, and a 3. -1 and +1. And then our racial movement modifier is ×4. So our elves can move really far, considering. Especially if you roll a 12 and then decide to use that 12. That is insane if you use a 12d6, a 12 on 2d6 and end up, being able to move ×4. You're looking at like 48 meters in one standard movement. That's bonkers. All right. Up next, we're going to go for the origins table here. So let's go ahead and add in more of that. And once again, I'm going to increase this ever so slightly. There we go. All right, now it's even bigger, which is what I would like to see. So as we read before, elves get weapons, bows, and beloved by the Fae as innate skills, so rangers and shamans are their best classes. You don't have to pick them, but it would behoove you to pick those classes or focus on those classes as an elf, sadly. So we're going to do 6 times. Actually, no, we don't need to do 6 times anything because we're just going to copy and replace. And then we're going to paste those in here. And we're going to go ahead and just delete all this information and probably move some stuff around. Alright, so we have Adventurer, Vagabond, and Hunter. Oh, no, we don't. We have Half-Elf here, which is interesting. This is going to be a craftsperson. And then here we have Soldier, Hunter, Poet, Musician. Next is Storyteller, Faith Healer, and Chief instead of Noble. Pretty much the same thing. Okay. Now for our classes, we have 1 level of any class, Monk, Ranger, or Shaman. We skip Craftsperson, we move to Soldier for 1 level of Scout. For Hunter, we get 1 level of Ranger. And then for Poet, we get Sorcerer or Shaman. Musician, we get Scout or Ranger. Let's see here. 10 is going to be a Shaman. And then for this one, we just have Priest. And that's it. We don't do anything for Chief. For adventuring skills, we skip right to number 4 for Half-Elf. We'll end up getting First Aid. Drag that in. Then we have Handiwork. Sixth Sense. And then we have Monster Knowledge. All right. After that, nothing left for adventure skills for being an elf, so we move right to general skills. And here we have perform. And then we skip one and go to artisan. Come on. Wait. There we go. That was annoying. We skip 2 and go down to poet, giving us perform in improvised poem. Okay. And then next we get perform play. So I'm just going to copy that and switch this to play. And then we have negotiate, persuade. Oop, darn it. And then again we have worship and leadership. I like these contextual links. They're really handy, and I'm glad I got them to work outside of the core items of Foundry. Now, for our others, we only have 2 spots here. We have the half-elf, which is going to say, an elf born of a half-elf. They may face prejudice, or they may not. A health elf. Alright, and then lastly we have just the chief, who starts with 2d6 times 50 silver coins. And that is it for our elf origin here. Make sure I save that. Alright. And we move on to Lizardman, which technically we could say, if someone wanted to play a kobold in Goblin Slayer, that Lizardmen would be a viable option technically. They're just smaller Lizardmen. I don't know. I am considering a whole bunch of different things depending on who wants to play this once I get this going, because I would definitely like to get a test group together to see how this system works out in the game, and whatever bugs I need to find and fix, because I'm sure there's going to be plenty of them. There we go. And then for Lizardmen, among those who have words, they are the strongest, most valorous race. They name themselves descendants of the fearsome Naga, and many of them live in the jungles and wetlands of the south. They look like lizards standing upright, and because of their sharp claws and fangs, sturdy tails, and tough scales, they excel at fighters and monks. They are also suited to being dragon priests who worship their ancestral dragons. A lizardman is treated as an adult at age 13, and though they insist they will live eternally until killed, most of them do end up dying in battle, so nobody knows what sort of lifespan they have. The funny thing, though, is with lizardmen is that they are basically the ones that will always stand in for anyone that needs a fighter or someone as like a champion. So when maybe 2 nobles are warring with each other and they say, oh, we need someone to fight for us, lizardmen are always the first one to take that spot. It's kind of funny. Alright, for our general skills, we have As an adventuring skill, general strengthened immunity. Oh, that's funny. Why'd that go there? All right, cool. That dropped in. We also get dark vision, and then we get one more for draconic heritage. All right, so strengthened immunity, you gain, at level 1, you gain a +1 bonus to strength resistance checks. And then for Draconic Heritage, your scales add 1 to your armor score. In addition, your barehanded attacks become slash attacks, and you gain a +1 bonus to their power. So that's some of the stuff you get for being a lizard person. Now the funny part is I built out all the spells, at least I should have built out all the spells, for the Dragon Priests. And they all the names for the spells, all the chants, are worshipping basically dinosaurs, not necessarily dragons. So if we go and look at the spells here real quick, from the Compendium, we'll see here in Ancestral Dragon, Bezor, Ornithominuma? Wait, Ornithomimus. There we go. Ornithomimus. Let's see if that's an actual dinosaur. I have no idea. Ornithomimus. Yeah, if we go here, here's our Ornithomimus. So they're basically worshipping dinosaurs, not necessarily dragons. It's really funny when I started to read that and noticed it. Okay, now let's get back over to here and finish up the scores. So for our fixed scores, we're going to have a 4, 3, a 2, and a 2, and then here we're going to have a 3, a 2, and a 2. For our random scores, we're going to have a +2, +1, no pluses. And then the racial movement modifier is a 2, just like our dwarven friends here. Actually, I wonder, let me check something out real quick here. Oh, I would have to add it into here. Let's see if I can do that or not. I had trouble with that before. So in theory, this should work, but it may, yeah. Oh, that's because I haven't enriched this section yet. All right, I'll leave that there for now, and I'll come back to that in a minute. Yeah, you know what? While we're looking at, let's do something a little different. So we're gonna go back into here. We're gonna go into the items sheet alongside with the actor sheet here, and we want the module, we want the sheets, and we want the item sheet. So what we're going to say here is else if. We want an else if item type equals race. Then we're going to say data dot, or no, do I need to do that? I don't think I do. Let me see. What is my race sheet using? Oh, it's using the comments and not the effects. That's the problem. So if I switch this to effects, that would work. Yeah, I don't want to. I've already put stuff into there. I'll just do this instead. All right, so we're going to say data dot e-comment for enriched comment equals, and then we're going to just copy and paste all of that and update this so it says system dot comment. That should be what I'm looking for. So we look here at the data. So we're looking at our item, which is a human. We want the system. Yeah, we want comment because actually there is no effect for... Oh, okay, so that would definitely be helpful. So we need the comment. So yes, it's system.comment for this. So system.comment becomes data.enriched comment. We'll save that, and then we will go back to the race sheet and say data.ecomment. Save that, and then let's reload the page and see what happens with our races here for human. Hey, perfect. It actually worked. Okay, that's what we wanted to see. So now we can see the origins table just by clicking and jumping right to it, which is perfect. So let's do that real quick for the other ones as well. Actually, let's bring this back up. Shortcut. I'll leave that here. And now let's take a look at our elf. We will add that in as well. And just say, boop, here we go. Save that, and now we have our elf origins table, which is fantastic. And then we also need the dwarf. Pop that in there. Drop that in. Let's not kill that. We'll just do that. Save it. And now our dwarf origins table is in place as well. Perfect. Now, let's go back and finish the lizardmen. So we're going to need that. We're going to open this up again. We're going to edit this, and unfortunately this is shrunk again. So I need to modify this once again. Okay. So now we're doing a dwarf. Oh no, lizard man. And then we have a little bit of information here about this. And oh, I have to, there we go. Copy that. We're going to drop that here. So now we have our table all ready to go. And let's take a look at our origins table. So we have adventurer, vagabond, slave. And while this may be a trigger word for some people, slave in this game, while in some cases it is, you know, just as bad as it can think, some people enter it as, you know, traditionally speaking of like Roman times with the gladiator pits. So we have that kind of praised slave as well, not just a traditional slave. So read the game before anything, you know, before any kind of emotions start to flare up. Then we have cavalry, engineer, which is fascinating. We could have ourselves little kobold lizardmen technically with this engineer. Archer. Let's see here. Number 8 is going to be a spear soldier. Foot soldier. Tactician. Bishop. And King's Spawn. Now, the fun part here for classes is that every Lizardman origin story gets a class except for King's Spawn. So these first two are going to stay the same. This is going to be... You're not going to make the same character twice if that's what I'm implying? Maybe I am, Hair Doctor. Maybe I'm not. I don't know. I just know certain people really enjoy kobolds. And I was thinking of how might I make a kobold race in Goblin Slayer. Alright, so cavalry is going to be fighter. Then we have scout, ranger, fighter again, fighter again, and then we have sorcerer or dragon priest, and priest or dragon priest. Okay. Now we have adventurer skills. There's not a whole lot for adventurer skills for this. So here we're going to say weapons bows for adventurer skills for archer. And then this will be bows. Then we have weapons spears. And then we have shields. And anticipate. So we got those. And then for general skills, they basically flip the other one. So we'll have the perform here. And then that will be any one. And then we have Artisan XX. I had it right, okay. Again, any one, so we get a choice. Riding. Craftsmanship. Okay, and then we skip down to here for worship and leadership. So I'm just going to copy these. Actually, I wonder if I can just do this, because these are all exactly the same. Perfect. Okay. All right. So that is our Lizardman Origins table. We're going to go ahead and drop that into here. Save that, and it didn't save, or did it? Sometimes these things... Okay, it did save. Perfect. So now we can open up right to our Origins table, which will be handy to see. Oh, my other cat, Violet, wants to go out now. I'll be right back. Oh, yeah. You're going to sit there and tell me that you want to go outside while it's partially raining? Bye, Felicia. Put my headphones back on. And let's see here. Last but not least for the core rulebook classes is the Rhea. So the Rhea are small little humanoids, about the size of a human child. Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute. So they're basically halflings, or however else they're referred to in other games. But these Rheas are halflings. I like the name. The name is cool. And let's see here. I gotta go back to this. Systems, Goblin Slayer tokens, and villains. Something that potentially looks short. You know what? We're gonna switch. We're gonna give Rhea's the bandit-looking fellow, and we're going to switch the elf to... we'll just switch it to this one for the time being. There you go. We'll say this elf in the picture is a half-elf. And because they're using magic, even better. All right. That works for me. For our Rheas, let's see here. Rheas are going to be among those who have words. This race is the most mysterious. Rheas are said to be denizens of the plains. They are about the height of a human child, are nimble, and are great at hiding, perhaps because of a natural shyness. At best, they are innocent and heroic, but at worst, they are pleasure-seeking and irresponsible. They possess very sharp wits, making them well-suited for being scouts. A Rhea is considered an adult at age 30, and they possess a lifespan of around 100 to 160 years of age. So I'll just go ahead and add in that little space there for our origins table. Now, for our Rheas, we're going to see what... let's see here. Let's get rid of that. Okay. Go back over here. Oh, I need the races. I need my skills pack open. What music did I pick? This is ridiculous. What am I on? Oh, the whiteout. I'm like, why am I getting anxiety just listening to music right now building characters? I mean, I'm not really, but still, it's ridiculous. Okay, so for our Rheas, we actually don't get dark vision. The Rheas don't have that. But we do get stealth. So that's going to be handy. We'll go ahead and drop that in. Gain a +1 bonus on stealth checks. Anticipate. Do we have anticipate? No, we don't. And then lastly, we have cooking. So for anticipate, we get a +1 bonus to initiative and surprise attacks. So that's pretty handy. And then we had cooking. Yeah, get it back in there. There we go. All right, and cooking is gain a +1 bonus to cooking checks. You know, whatever. Now for our Rheas, we have, let's see here. 1, 4, 3, and 2 for our fixed scores, or and a 1, a 2, and a 4 here. And then we'll see -1 here, +2, +1, and straight roll there. Or no, I'm sorry. That's not a straight roll. That's a -1. This is the straight roll. And a +2 here. And they get a racial modifier of 3. So there's our Rheas. And then for the Rhea origin stories... or origin table, I should say. We have the following information. Oops, there we go. Rheas have high technique reflex, making them good for monks and scouts. They also have high psyche, making them effective priests, dragon priests, and shamans as well. So they're not altogether too terribly limited. I mean, any race can be any class. It doesn't really matter. Any adventuring class. It just depends on how much you want to min-max, really. Alright, so for our origins, we have Adventurer, Vagabond, Poet, Scholar, Artisan, Farmer, Merchant, Shopkeeper, Gardener. No, I did have that right. Knight and Landowner. Now, as for our classes, again, we get any level 1 of any class. We get level of monk, sorcerer, or shaman. And then sorcerer. Now, these ones are going to be blank for the next couple ones until we get to level 9, or roll 9. And then we have fighter, monk, or scout here. 10 is going to be ranger or scout. And then fighter for the last one. Okay. And then lastly, I'm going to leave that 50 silver coins thing there because that is standard. And actually I'm going to come in here and finish this one off. 2d6 times 10 silver coins for merchant. And then again we have specifically a pub owner. Alright, now for our adventuring skills. We have nothing until artisan, which is going to be handiwork. Or hardiness for farmer. And then observe. Now we have a whole bunch of general skills that we can get here. We have perform. And then we have performed improvised poem. Research. Artisan. Production farming. We skip one and we go to production farming again. And then we have riding and leadership. Oh, did I miss one? Oh, I did. All right. This is supposed to be here. Let's get rid of that one. And this is supposed to be negotiate. And then we have riding and leadership. Okay. Perfect. We'll go ahead and save that. And then we will add in the Rhea origin story just like we did for the other ones. Let's get that up there just to fix that. Close it and reopen it just to double check it. There we go. Our Rhea origin table is in place with its stealth, anticipate, and cooking skills. Plus we have the potential for 1 or 2 other skills. And my cat is knocking at the door. I'll be right back. Fahrenheit? I don't know, what is that? Like 20s in the Celsius or something? I do not know. the fastest way to convert for Celsius. All right, what is the weather right now here? Oh, it's in the 60s. Yeah, it's pretty chilly out. All right, so 50 degrees is, 10 degrees Celsius. There you go. So for all of the metric and Celsius users out there, it's currently 10 degrees here in New York where I live. All right, and what else do I want to do quick? Since we're in here, let's add in the classes, and then I can link those up as well, just to make things a little quicker. So what we'll do here is we will add a new page for classes. And how do I want to do that? Yeah, I have a whole bunch of information here. Nope, want that bold. There we go. Yeah, so this is basically a lot of just copy pasta here. Nothing too special from this point on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do very similarly to the classes. I'm going to make some subheadings with, you know, these up here. Oh, there it is. I was like, why is this not showing up? So I'm going to end up copying, pasting some stuff in. I'm going to drag those into each of these origin tables here and just kind of go from there. That's about everything to it. So I'm going to go ahead and end this stream here, as this is just going to be a bunch of boring copy and pasting and whatnot. As for the races are done. This is all we have for races at the moment with the core rules. The supplement that I found adds 2 more, being Dark Elf and Padfoot. Padfoot have a subset of races where you have like 4-legged or beastkin style, like beast style Padfoot. Then you have water style, although they don't really go into much description with that, I believe, but there are water-based Padfoot. You also have your avian Padfoot, especially harpies, which can be a playable race, and then also Myrmidon Padfoot. And the Myrmidon are broken down into a variety of different types. They're basically insects, and the Padfoot is going to be, you know, ants, bees and wasps, and maybe like beetles of some type, and those are your different types of Padfoot. So you actually get quite a lot if you consider the Padfoot to break down into several different subspecies of the race. So it's pretty interesting. But in any event, I'm just going to sign off now and get into the really boring copy-paste portion of the job, as well as doing a couple other things. The next thing on my list is going to be, let me show you real quick before I sign off here. If I go to the actors and I go to the weapons and items page, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to remove this, probably shrink this up a little bit, maybe get rid of these and do a context button where I right click, and then have a button here that says like maybe 2 swords clashing to hit, or maybe a target or something, and get it so that instead of clicking here to do your hit and damage, you're going to click buttons that are very visual over here on the side instead, and do the same for you know, armor and block checks and whatnot. So a dodge check button here and a block check button here, and probably get rid of the button for crafting tools unless there's a button that's needed, and really rework this section here, because I haven't been quite a fan of how this is laid out. I do like the stylings a little bit. I mean, the stylings are fine, but for all intents and purposes, I just don't like how I've kind of slapdashed this all together. So that's going to be a future update, and I might or might not be doing that live on stream. We'll see if I have the time for it. But in any event, thanks so much for watching this another live stream here, hanging out with me, or watching this later on as a live stream or replay, video on demand. And I hope you're looking forward to trying out Goblin Slayer on Foundry as much as I am. Until next time, see you all later.